Recording is on.
Hello and welcome to the Monday, March 1st, 2021 DXbiz Dev Call. On the agenda today, we have new member introduction. We'll have an update of the Luna social collaboration and an introduction to Opolis by John Paller, which I don't know if he's here already. And then if there are any other items on the agenda, feel free to put them here in the chat. And I think we can get started. I think I see there are a couple of new people here. Ali, there's CC, and I don't know if there's anyone else. Yeah. So the other John is wearing the Opolis shirt to try to confuse us. Yeah, do you want to get started? Ali, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. My name is Ali, and it's nice to meet everybody. Keenan told me that DXDAO needed help with HR, and I am hoping that I can help you where I can. And I'll be making an introduction on Keybase very soon. So thank you.
Awesome. Welcome to DXDAO. Yes. Anyone else? Fellow Jitser? Or CC?
Hey guys, my brother and me, we just talked with Chris Powers about helping with marketing basically, and might be focused on Asia specifically because one half of me and my brother is sitting in Shanghai. But so far so good. We just talked for half an hour and happy to learn more about what's going on, your plans and so on.
Awesome. Welcome. I don't know, is there anyone else? Fellow Jitser?
Hey, Elon, just FYI, John Paller is late. He had a call at 9, so he's likely just going to appear around 9:30. So when he does, we should plan to let him speak at that time. But he's not in the call just yet, so he'll appear at some point.
All right. Yeah, so I guess, I don't know, there's a fellow Jitser here. Maybe he wants to introduce himself, maybe not.
I think that's the other half of CC, or my guess.
Hey, what's up?
No, that's Makina. We say Makina. We say him. Nyland's just calling out fellow Jitsers, just shaming them.
Shaming Anons. Yeah, so I guess, I don't know, Chris, do you want to maybe talk about Luna Social and the updates, and then maybe we can continue talking about these type of partnerships in general?
Yeah, so just provide an update since last week. So we had talked at the Luna Social really in the fall about working together and doing a launch liquidity mining campaign on Swapper. They, and even doing a Mesa sale, they had taken a different route and did a private sale raise, and then now just re-picked up the conversation about a week and a half ago about wanting to do continue the partnership and continue and do a liquidity mining campaign on Swapper. So I just wanted to kind of provide a little bit of an update from the conversation, a little back and forth we had this past week. So I think in general, I think one, it'd be a great opportunity for Swapper to do liquidity mining campaign, and I think they could do the farming. They're looking to do it in like the next couple weeks, probably. They want to have an announcement probably next week or the week after that, presumably for like an end of March, early April campaign launch. And I think that they'd be able to do with the farming interface on Swapper and be one of like the first ones to do that. So I think that would be like a great thing that we should just embrace there. And then the kind of two other things are, one, I mentioned XDAI and like just they were interested, or maybe they were not uninterested. They just didn't really know that much and were kind of curious about it. So I'm hoping to kind of push that and maybe try to have them have like both a mainnet and a XDAI farming campaign that we could think about. And then the second thing is they're looking for some type of help on governance. And I'm just going to read you what he said. He said, we currently have 0 governance model in place, except that we forked boosted finances governance, and then wrote this paragraph in our white paper. I'm personally not very tuned in with governance models and how they are evolving and what the best practices out there. Would like to tap in onto DXDAO's expertise on this to help design, implement our model. And so, yeah, this is kind of, I would say, like the state of the partnership now. So this is the document we're working for. So I think in general, like the things that we want to do here is, one, we're gonna want to have some type of announcement partnership with them that is kind of based off of these things that will announce the liquidity mining campaign. I believe they're also going to have I don't know if they're still, yeah, they are. I think they are still doing DXD staking. It's like in general, like I'm not sure if we should have sirens. Like think about all the people it's disrupting versus, anyway.
It's so loud.
It's just, it's like 1,000 people are all just like paused for a second because I guess there is a fire, and I hope they're all safe and sound.
Yeah, because sounds like they don't know shit about governance, and included it because it's cool. But what about ERC20 Guild?
Yeah. So could we push that? I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, like,
and they could even do it within Swapper, even.
I mean, it depends if they want to like true on-chain governance, right? If they want to go this snapshot route, that's something we need to discuss with them. But in general, this would mean that we could like before we do like the Omen or DXD governance dashboard, we could try to do like a boilerplate DApp with governance using ERC20. Like maybe that is an option.
Could that even be overlapped with, I guess, the Swapper governance interface that we were kind of mentioning? Because then you could presumably just do your governance from Swapper.
I mean, we have like several ERC20 guilds we're going to install, right? DXD, Swapper, Omen.
Right.
So it sounds like it might be a good idea to have like a boilerplate DApp, which we use as an example for everyone else who wants to use it.
Yeah, and maybe this is some, with XDAI and ERC20 Guild, this is kind of what we're interested in, like them doing with us, because this would help, us help DXDAO build out its products and services. Yeah, so that's
I think
good.
One part, if we're actually properly developing their stuff in terms of governance, I think we should like get some tokens so the DXL could actually participate on the ERC20 Guild.
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know how much they're looking for, like on the governance, as you said, like I guess it's like if you launch a token, you have to have governance. And so they probably haven't done much thought, but they know they have to. And yeah, I don't know how adventurous they're willing to be, or if they're just looking for like a snapshot repeat of what everyone else's snapshot multi-sig setup.
Yeah, I've got. This might be like a side question, but for the case of like ERC20 guilds, like given current gas prices, wouldn't it just make more sense to use snapshot and a multi-sig? Yes, it's there's some centralization there, obviously, But just because of the situation right now with gas, because I feel like ERC20 guilds will require quite a bit of votes, and that means quite a bit of transactions. So
the cool thing with Aluna that we could lead with is the fact that that it could be on XDAI and mainnet, like the token, the actual sale, the farming, well, not the sale, but the farming, the two farming pools. And if we have, and if there's a good bridge and that's a seamless experience, and that could be even built in the long term, then the actual governance of using the ERC20 guild could be mainly on XDAI. And that's still like, that's more of a real DAO than the snapshot with the multi-sig, I think. So if they're willing to experiment, like this is a cool opportunity because there's so many things that they're open to that would fit into exactly what DXDAO is building. I mean, it would be awesome if the question is, are they willing to take a risk? Because like none of this stuff has been used yet, right? We've been building and we have this plan for this cross multi-chain governance with Swapper, with bridge built in. It's untested at this point. So if they're willing to be the first big example, like that could be really successful for them, assuming it works. They might want to see us do it with our own money and our own token first, right? That's, if I was a project, I wouldn't necessarily want to be the first one to try something that's just been built, but maybe they will be.
Yeah, I think you're just saying the willing to experiment. And I think it's like separate from like, they're going to want to launch a token and they're going to want liquidity. And we've been like working with them and they're going to do that on Swapper. And I think they're going to launch a liquidity mining campaign on Swapper. And that's kind of like almost set in stone. And I think what we're talking about here is like, can we add a couple other things that are also that also align with some of the things that we're trying to promote. And I think for that, it comes down to what you said is like, if they're willing to experiment a little, but that's kind of like the whole point of partnerships is to kind of meet halfway. And since they don't really know where they're going in terms of governance, maybe this is something that we can plug. Cool. I'll respond to him. I guess Alvin, and there's a couple people in the chat there about that, and try to see if we can find a way to work on the governance component, because I think using the guilds would be a great way to promote that structure.
all right. So, I mean, this is, I guess, one type of sort of collaboration, which includes the DXDAO products. Like originally, they also wanted to do some sort of like a sale using Mesa, but that's not happening. But this is one type of partnership that I guess we're actively looking, which is like sort of like a sale and then using Swapper to provide liquidity and continuing off from there. I think, I don't know. I think the value of the DXDAO can bring to these projects is kind of like the first or like a meaningful one is decentralization. Because if they're like partnering with DXDAO, then immediately they can have like quite a bit of people that are spread all over the world that are in one way or another kind of like invested with their project, if we decide to partner. Then I don't know. My thoughts are, should we go out looking for more of these projects? I don't know at what stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is the key point from a revenue perspective, and also like from a point of sale, like when are people going to make the decision is when projects are launching, right? So this is why the flow from Mesa is very nice. But I think what we can package up right here is Swapper on multiple chains with an easy to use farming interface, which a lot of new projects will like immediately launch, right? And so I think that can be like an appealing thing. And so it's like finding projects that are in that area or that stage of development.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like in the coming months, I think Mesa will be in that position in combination with Swapper. But I think Swapper is like with the new liquidity mining feature, I think it's primed to be used to like partner with important projects. And I think like if Aluna Social is actually being used by humans and by traders, having like a long-term partnership with that product and that team could be very fruitful for us, like looking 1-2 years ahead.
Yeah. So I think maybe we should like try to figure out what it is exactly that we want, and then yeah, I guess this ties into marketing of, you know, maybe like a short blog post about this, like kind of taking the Aluna social model and saying like, hey, DXDAO is looking for more of these, and then starting tweeting these out as well. Maybe we can sync on this with the marketing calls. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of things are being like said here or like sort of being decided, and then maybe what needs to push them is that we are actually communicating them out. And then that's kind of like it's sort of like a stance that we take in the DXDAO. And then we can continue off of that. Yes, that's that. Any other thoughts on this topic?
So there's been talk of like Mesa, the finished Mesa would be able to do not just like IDOs, like not just initial token sales, but could the technology can be used for like any secondary, like if DXDAO wanted to do a sale of a token for ETH, or let's say sell some DXD for some ETH, even though DXD is already trading on the market, you could still use this like Mesa offering technology for like a secondary chunk, right? And so Aluna would be an example. Like they did this private raise, then they're going to do some liquidity farming. So I don't know if does that imply that they're not going to do like a public token sale, or at some point in the future maybe they would want to sell further tokens. They could still use, I think they can still use Mesa for that type of behavior. Am I correct? Like it doesn't have to be, I don't think the auction has to happen only for like a non-trading token, right?
Well, Luna released 5 minutes ago something, and they're doing sales, but on like 3 different ways. And from what I see, they're trying to like get bigger community and like they're doing some interesting sales. I shared the link in the chat.
Jesus, Gate.io.
Yeah, I mean it's for the community. They want different communities.
Yeah.
They
What
could
is
have gone.
SHO? Oh,
Yeah, I'm
strongholder
skeptic-
offering.
Like this smells like the VC. Like now we know who are the VCs. Gate.io. Okay.
Maybe,
and
yeah.
DAO maker. Oh yeah.
Wait,
So it's like
is a strongholder offering, Elon, isn't that like what you've described in the past? Like you get a better, or maybe Zet, you described that too. Like you get a better price if you decide to hold it for much longer.
I mean, I described something I came up in my head. I don't know if that exists.
Yeah.
But I think
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I think this is just like holding. I don't know if you have the choice to hold different times, but I think this is like staking or something. But we should look at it.
Yeah. I mean, so I've heard of like these DAO maker guys previously, and what they do is they just, they join you, they help you with the sale, they take a bunch of the tokens, and then they practically disappear. I know. I mean, like Plotex. Remember those guys? Like I spoke to them as well, and that's what happened to them basically with these guys. So yeah, I guess they were like, okay, we'll take a bunch of the tokens and help you raise funds. This is it's kind of, yeah, I don't know, kind of weird. I think Sky, to like what you were saying with like strong holding, like my idea with like my thoughts with opening sales is that you don't want anyone to be able to participate in the sale. You want you want your target audience. So if you're doing something related to like NFTs, then maybe look at anyone who's made a transaction at OpenSea and then put them on a whitelist, and like these type of things. So yeah.
I mean, we listed as official partners, so that's a good thing. Yeah, you're right, Geronimo. Their investors are like Gate.io and also BitMEX from the looks of it.
Yeah. Well, I guess they said like BitMEX was like their first integration or something, no? Well, I guess the question that comes up is, does this change our decision in any way, or like what do you think of this?
Like, I don't, like, personally, in my view, it doesn't change anything. Like, I think the DXDAO is like coming from the on-chain decentralized world, and we might like strongly influence their future, hopefully. Like, seeing right now, the decentralized stuff is like kind of in control from their side, but I think we can come from the other side.
Yeah, this seems like a positive. Like, if they actually can get all of those communities interested in a Luna token, and the main pool for a Luna token is on Swapper, that's amazing, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
yeah.
we just weren't ready for the sale. So like, if Mesa was ready, I think that Mesa could be involved in part of the sales too. Maybe, but they clearly want to spread it across different communities. Mesa's not ready yet. So they do this sale, but the fact that if we can really push and own these swapper pools, that's really beneficial.
Definitely. I mean, because it's like when the best time to build liquidity is when a token is gathering liquidity. The best time to get new like users, new community members is right when it kind of launches. So the closest we can get to that, I think is yeah, it's great.
How else would you trade it? Like Gate.io forces you to KYC. Like, you can trade and deposit, and then it forces you to KYC when you wanna withdraw. So I think yeah, it's super important to help Aluna push whatever they want to push here on Swapper.
Yeah. All right. So I guess sounds good, and we learned like another thing or two. I like what you sent. That looks like kind of looks like a deck made into a Medium post, like an investor deck, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so maybe I see that Joshua is here from Opolis. Is John here as well? I don't see him. Joshua, are you here?
I'm here. Yeah, hello.
Hey, Joshua.
Let me give me a minute to try to get a hold of John.
John can't enter because there's already a John in the room. Doesn't sound very open, to be honest.
What does everyone here think about these calls happening in Jitsi versus if we did them in Discord? Anyone?
Jitsi is awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's a good
I-
idea.
I
Because then
say
you
we
see
do.
more like of the general community getting like involved in.
Yeah.
I say maybe we should do one meeting at Discord once a week for the community. So maybe the
I think
Thursday
this.
meeting.
I think. Oh yeah, I guess maybe the Thursday meeting. This one is, I feel like, the second best to be kind of
Yeah.
like open.
But I think like
You
the
can make permissions on Discord voice channels though too.
You can't make what?
Sorry, I'm lagging, so my voice is really delayed, and I might be unintentionally cutting people off. But I was saying you could make just a few people able to speak, or like maybe 10 people, so it doesn't get like crazy, because there could be like a lot more people joining.
Like one advantage Jitsi has is you don't need anything besides like a browser, and Discord like requires you an account, right?
oh, you can do browser. It's browser based.
No account needed.
Yeah, you need an account. Obviously.
Okay, so yeah.
But that's the server settings of the DXDAO server.
I don't think there's like no account chatting or voice.
I mean,
you
you can have like a
Discord account, yeah.
you can have like an unregistered account and join, and it just depends on the Discord server settings.
I didn't know that. Oh, you mean unverified account? You still need an account.
Yeah, like unverified, but unverified means like no email. Just put in like a name.
Yeah. But I think we should do once a week on Discord, and maybe that one is more like open if people want to ask. They don't need like to introduce themselves. Maybe people just wanna don't feel pressured, right? They just wanna listen in and maybe ask questions and yeah.
Hey, John.
Yeah, like I wouldn't confuse, like either we use Discord or not. If like Keenan actually thinks it's something where we could like get the community like involved, I don't see why we shouldn't use Discord if it gives everything what we use, like what we have on Jitsi.
Yeah, my main the main reason I brought it up is that some people have like Jitsi is like daunting. I think, especially when I first started, I noticed like joining Jitsi, it doesn't tell me who's in the call. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you have so much background noise, though.
Yeah, sounds like you're putting blocks into like playing with blocks or something though.
I don't think that's on my end. I'm hearing that too.
I think that was Joshua. I just muted him.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Can you do that on Discord? Can I mute someone who I want to?
Yes.
That's what I want. And I want one person to have all of that power to be able to do it. That's how we can increase the power of the
Centralization.
moderators.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that general community members are actually a bit afraid of these calls. At least the people I've talked to, like we don't even know who's in the call until you join it. And when you join it, it's like basically, you know, you're there. I think that having like that kind of, you can see who's in the call in our community channel where our community members are going to be is going to be powerful, and we can have a lot more community participation than we may or may not currently be having.
I mean, it could be an idea to post the meetings when they're gonna be, like 10 minutes before on Discord, first of all. And I don't know if this exists, but some kind of bot that live streams the audio from this meeting and into like Discord or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, like we see like meeting leads need to post all the time like a heads up, and I think we could automate that on Discord, basically alerting everyone that like there's some call coming up.
We'll start testing out Discord more, but let's jump to Opolis now, because I asked John Poller and Joshua, who are both from Opolis, to join this call to you know, as part of DXDAO's needs in general, like a lot of contractors are working for DXDAO in the U.S. They probably need benefits and things. At the same time, Opolis is actually raising a round currently as well. And I was trying to explain to the crew like exactly what Opolis was last week, and I wasn't doing a very good job. And so it is a fact that John is the #1 person to explain this. So if John, if you could, welcome to DXDAO. This is the BizDev call. You can see it's pretty active. There's a lot of potential Opolis users on this call probably as well. So if you could kind of give you an introduction yourself and Opolis, and then maybe have some time at the end. People might have some questions for you about Opolis. That'd be awesome.
Yes, we can't hear you. I mean, I guess you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And I guess, can I share my screen? I guess was the question.
Yeah, that
you
works.
can do whatever you want in Jitsi. So many possibilities.
Is that a
Shit,
cat?
it's a tiger. It's a
What is
tiger.
that? And this is being recorded. I hope. Is that all right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's
Thanks.
fine.
It's my friend's cat.
John, I'm wearing my ultra mega vitalik mega pega buffercorn shirt.
Are you? That's super dope, dude. Like I'm stoked about that. Okay, hang on. Let me.
John Kelleher is actually
Jitsi's
wearing an Opolis shirt right here.
Who's wearing one?
John Kelleher.
I used to wear that shirt, and then my friends would be like, "Why are you wearing a QAnon shirt?"
Why you gotta hate on your own project, Josh? Like, come on, dude, that's not cool.
It's just the shirt. I love the project. But I'm wearing my Eat Denver.
Oh yeah, you got the SWORK marmot. There you go. Okay, where is my screen here? Why is this not working here? Okay, give me just 1 second here.
Because while he's doing that, I'll tell you guys who I am. I'm Joshua Lapidus. I'm the membership steward at Opolis and the chess steward at Eat Denver. Before coming to the Ethereum space, I did enterprise sales, driver growth, and competitive intelligence at Lyft.
So while I'm trying to actually get my screen to like cooperate here, I seem to have like all sorts of trouble with this particular like.
There you go.
Is it working? Okay, Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, so my background is I'm actually the founder of Eat Denver. I've been in the Ethereum ecosystem for quite some time. We've hosted 4 installments of Ethereum Denver. And this last February, we just hosted 31 unique visitors via Twitch, 3,000 formally registered, 1,300 hackers, and gave away $250,000 in prize money. We affectionately refer to ourselves as a innovation festival. We don't like the term hackathon. In fact, we're the birthplace of Biddle. So we're a Biddle-a-thon is more affectionately accurate, we believe. And my day job is Opolis. So I've been in the HR tech and employment space for 20 years. And when you think about Web3 and where we need to go, we have some work to do. So what Opolis in simple terms is, it's the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. It essentially is going to allow individuals the ability to work in the Ether space and have all the kind of freedoms and flexibilities that they're looking for by doing so. But also creating like legitimacy and professionalization for this emerging industry. So what we are is a member-owned digital employment cooperative, and we provide payroll benefits and shared services in a Web3 way to independent workers. Now, the reason for all of this is because, well, if you don't watch labor statistics, we're moving back to independence. In 1908, In the United States, as an example, 88% of people were self-employed. We're moving back that direction. So by 2028, over half of the US labor force alone, and this is an international trend, by the way, this isn't just something in the US, but we're using US statistics, 90 million people will be classifying themselves as self-employed or independent. But we don't actually build anything in the HR tech space for independent workers. So the notion of self-sovereignty as it relates to employment isn't something that we actually talk about. Having been a veteran of the HR tech space, everything is designed with the customer as the corporation and the product as the individual. Now, as we continue to move further and further away from this, we've got to build systems that allow freedom and flexibility for individuals, but also minimizing cost and risk, not just for quote corporations or paternalistic type of organizations, but also for projects, DAOs. The new employers also need this mitigation. So again, we provide benefits, payroll shared services, and portability of all of these things on behalf of independent workers while maintaining compliance for everybody in the equation. To give an illustration, it's our friend Emily here, this isn't actually her real name, but this is an actual like use case. It's a person who's actually a member of the cooperative. She loves the freedom and flexibility of being independent, but can't stand everything else. She pays almost $4,000 a year more for her health and care insurance. Keep in mind, this is a US person. She's spending thousands of dollars a year in just administering her business in terms of accountants and attorneys. She doesn't really have anywhere to put her old school like retirement plans, and she's juggling like over 24 revenue streams per year because, again, she's working project-based. Come to the employment commons, and she actually has all of these problems solved for her. So the technology is, again, organized towards a user-centered internet, or in our world, a user-centered employment experience. So she gets to save a bunch of money on her healthcare insurance. She gets to save all the costs that she would normally have to spend on administering her business, and she gets consolidated into choose her own adventure and anything and everything that she wants. Medical, dental, vision, retirement plans, all the different insurances that you normally get being an employee of somebody else, you can now actually get being self-sovereignly employed. Shared services or set it and forget it. Again, behind the curtain, under the covers, all the things that employers typically do for you are done for you. But instead of having to subjugate yourself, you can do it through a shared services stack that's designed for cooperative consumption, but also maintaining your employment and no commingling of operational risks. So you don't have to give anything up to get this. And you can also take paychecks in cryptocurrency based on, there's some asterisks to that depending on where you live, but compliantly the stack tracks all of that on your behalf. Now, back to the very, very first part of this, like what is this all about? Like, why does this matter? Well, when you look at the commercial experience of a person and you look at all the use cases that we've got out there, including DeFi and NFTs and insurance and retirement and all these different things that we're building as ecosystems for individuals, payroll is the single common factor of everybody's commercial experience. It's the single biggest and most important channel for Web3 adoption coming into the future. So freeing people from the typical paternalistic exploitive systems of traditional employment and giving them a public utility infrastructure to maintain the compliance that they need while giving them entire autonomy over from where, with whom, and how much they choose to work, that is the future of Web3. I'm going to skip all of this and go right to the competitors. Nobody cares about that, but I'm going to just get into like why this really matters. So anybody can come in and provide back office services or help you do your accounting or provide a paycheck or stream you tokens or something like that. But really at scale, what we're doing is, again, building a public utility infrastructure vertically integrated of all the things. And how do we incentivize people to actually come and participate? Well, there's two ways. You can become an employee member, which is a consuming member. Now, currently, unfortunately, we're not quite outside of the US yet. Second half of 2021, we will be expanding to Canada, Eurozone, and UK. That's the plan. And you can have your employment actually be through the ecosystem. The second way to become a member is a coalition member in support of the self-sovereign worker. So just like any other cooperative in the state of Colorado, you can be a foreign entity or person and be a member of the cooperative. This is not KYC required. So it's a very low bar to become a member. And you can actually start participating in contribution of value to actually receive what's called patronage work tokens. So the work token is a patronage unit of account. Now, again, if you know anything about cooperative law, patronage is the vehicle by which a distribution of dividends and profits is used to calculate how much you get. So it sort of smells like a utility, or excuse me, like a security. But in the state of Colorado, there is a securities exemption for patronage. So because we're patronizing tokens, or we're tokenizing patronage, we are exempt from securities laws. So it's a really, really beautiful thing. So those that contribute technology, contribute referrals, or consume from the ecosystem all can be members, also stake their tokens, and earn more work token rewards. Now, we're not selling tokens intentionally, so this is not something where we're soliciting the sale of tokens. We're actually doing an equity investment or a convertible grant. So MakerDAO, for an example, has a convertible grant with us where we owe them, value distribution if and when we do, something like this. So MakerDAO will be receiving their tokens as part of the Genesis distribution, et cetera, et cetera. But we intentionally are not selling tokens because we don't want anybody to think that we're dealing with a security. Now, would somebody set up a secondary market is the question we get often. I suppose that they would and they could. We're not doing it specifically because, again, the cooperative can't be seen as selling tokens, especially in the early days. So we are avoiding that. But again, that wouldn't preclude somebody else from doing it because it is an ERC20 token. So currently, the Coalition for the Self-Sovereign Worker is growing. We have several DAOs in our ecosystem already. Lots of our membership are digital nomads, people working in the Web3 space, contributing to different components and compartments of the ecosystem. And we also have normie businesses. Oddly, we have a cooperative for Black creatives called Crux is a member. They're already referring their members. We have Zero Accounting Software, who is offering 75% off their accounting software for our members. So if somebody wants to use their service as a place to actually do their accounting, they can do that for super cheap. And we're partnered with Superfluid and several others in terms of technology, and we've got others coming, and we're working on really interesting, fun things. So our team, well, there's Josh. Josh has the best cartoon avatar. And let's see, what else here? What do we use?
Not best, but most accurate, probably.
Maybe the most accurate. So what are we using the funds for? So one of the, well, somebody's got to do compliance for the Web3 space. So one of the things that we're doing is completing compliance in the US. We're also building up to 100 coalition members, which is, again, referral partners, and issuing the corresponding landing pages. So everybody gets their own customized landing page. In fact, if I come here, I can go to, I'll just show you the first one that pops up. Can you see this? Or are you still on my deck?
No, we're still on the deck.
Oh, we're on the deck, yeah.
Okay, so let me.
If you stop sharing and then you share a different tab, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what I have to do. Okay, where are you? I just opened the tab, and now I got too many tabs open. Imagine that, right? Okay, where are you? I suppose I could just go off the tab that I was sharing before. Yeah, thousands of tabs. I don't know how I even manage any of this stuff because like this drives me. Oh, here it is. I can't like operate without my tabs, but like I don't know. I can't also function with my tabs. So here's what this looks like. So this is one that we did for Crux. So basically, it's branded. Their branding, what is that? So there's about Opolis. It actually takes you to the website. There's like you can actually look at the healthcare plans here. So it's really cool. So everybody has one of these. So I'll just show you another one. Here's Gitcoins. So they're similar, but they're all branded that specific group. So that way it's like it's really your community, your membership, but again, you're being rewarded with these tokens, these work tokens for the contribution of these referrals, and it's in perpetuity too. So as the ecosystem becomes profitable, these tokens are your right to those profits as a member. Now, as a non-member, you can go buy the tokens and they have no value to you. So you have to be a member. That's one of the legal ways that we get around the securities laws. So the tokens themselves don't own the properties. It's your membership. And to become a member is $20. So it's not expensive to do it. We're just checking legal boxes by doing that. So anyways, back to the presentation, I guess. We are, let me just get it up. We're using this initial round to essentially, or this final round of equity to get compliant and launch the work token. Our hope is that by the time the work token gets its legs underneath it, that we will never have to raise any more capital because quite frankly, I don't want to. We'd rather be seeding our own investments and building new primitives and natives on top of the stack and really advancing the goals of not just decentralized governance and decentralized communities, but DeFi and other primitives and natives that we think are really interesting. For example, one thing that we're talking about, or we've talked about with a couple of lending protocols, including Aave and Lendroid, is tokenizing invoices from people who are participating in the independent work community as NFTs and then selling them to the community, like lending against them. So these are the kinds of things that we'd rather be building instead of raising capital. But in any case, that's the end. So any questions? Anything I can answer for anybody?
Yeah, thanks, John. So I don't know if people have, as a few people mentioned, a lot of people as they contribute to DXDAO are outside the U.S. So
sure,
unfortunately, that's not there yet. But I think that's in the plan for the future.
Yes, of course. Yeah, 100%. There's a question in the chat here, Dave. What does Eurozone mean to me? Well, Eurozone is to us still, I guess, it still needs to be somewhat defined. The challenge with the European Union is that all countries still have, well, yeah, exactly. They have their standard insurances, and that was the point that I was making. So when I say Eurozone, I don't mean it as an aggregated thing. I mean, we're going to go unpack it country by country. For example, France has very different employment laws than you see even in Germany. So we'd have to go country to country, but we will tackle a lot of the European Union all at once. I can't make promises at this point of exactly which countries will be included in that. That by itself is a huge undertaking. So just as in order of operations, Canada is next. So Keenan, that's coming first, and then the UK, and then we will be unpacking the Eurozone, as I said, country by country, and we will make announcements about what countries are coming online and when. And then it's going to be dependent on demand of the network where we go from there. We have some requests for Japan. We have some requests for, like, I mean, you name it, Singapore. There's a bunch of different places that we've had requests for. But again, it's an incredibly intensive process to do legally with each of these zones. But it's totally doable. I mean, there are companies in the United States doing centralized, what they call international PEOs. So we will be following some of the script that they do, but there's some much more modern ways to do what they do that, you know, are going to scale much faster. But in any case.
Could you talk to, there were a few questions about like, if you have a legal entity, so what is it that's joining the cooperative? And if you have a legal entity or if you need one, how does that work for like, because someone also asked like, currently the DAO like pays individual contributors, some to legal entities, some to ETH wallet addresses, right? And so it fits in with Opolis basically.
Yeah, sure. So that would stay the same essentially. So the way that it gets, let's say you're a U.S. citizen and you're, you know, I have, you know, John Paller LLC, and you're remitting the DAI payment or whatever it is to some John Paller LLC controlled Ethereum wallet, right? So from an accounting perspective, I would count that as an asset for my entity. My entity is what actually becomes a member of the cooperative. And that's, again, to not commingle any operational risk. That's a really important feature. You become the sole employee of that entity. So in the United States, you elect what's called S-Corp status at the federal level. And then that gives you the ability to bona fide employ yourself, and then also the ability to co-employ yourself in terms of accessing the benefits plans and all of that. Now, each country will have a slightly different architecture for this because, again, not all the laws are the same. But conceptually, when it comes to payment remittance from the DAO, it would be the same. So it would be similar. In most cases, it would probably be best practices to have an entity accepting payment from the DAO. Especially in the U.S., there's legal and taxation reasons why you would want to do that. But you know, internationally, I can't speak to every situation at this point in time, but like we will be able to do that at some point in the future. Is it possible to have part of your service only bookkeeping, which is easy to localize? We're working on that. So currently in the United States, in order to access the healthcare component, it would have to be all-encompassing. It is very likely that we do a billing, payments, and payroll component that'll be more a la carte and more modular, especially for international people that are doing business internationally, right? So we're working on that. Thanks, Violet. See ya. Switzerland will be last. It's only me. I don't know. There's actually more people in Switzerland than you might think. We'll see. But yeah, so we are going to be looking at a very like Lego modular approach so that you could sort of a la carte do things that you'd want, but still be a consumer in the ecosystem and transact that volume, and not just be a referring member as a coalition partner. So that is coming. Yeah.
I have a question regarding like, so one of the things we discussed is sort of investing, right? And then the DXDAO is not really a legal entity anywhere.
Right.
And now the question is, if we wanted to, you know, participate in the fundraise or investment in Opolis, how will we do it? Even if it's possible.
Yeah, it would be a convertible grant. So the way that we would see it is we would keep you off the cap table because there's no legal entity to go on the cap table. So what we would do is we would issue a convertible grant. So the DAO could issue us a grant. We can provide the sort of form and what this would look like, but essentially it would entitle the DAO to the same rights of distribution pro rata as any other equity member, except that it's only done based on some liquidity trigger, right? So if there's some sort of event where there's a distribution of additional tokens or some liquidation of value, you would participate pro rata with that based on the grant rights and properties.
Cool.
And then if eventually, like, let's say DXDAO would hold a large amount of work tokens, what would those work tokens be used for, and what benefits do they have?
So in terms of the membership requirements for a cooperative, I'm about a day away from getting a final answer on this, but like, I'm pretty sure that we could just have the DAO be a member of the cooperative, even though it's not a legal entity. It is a, there's no requirement for KYC. So as far as like actually unlocking the rights and properties of that when it comes to value distribution as a member, for example, individuals, we're only collecting email address, Ethereum address, and their name, right? So what would stop us from just collecting DXDAO, an email address and an Ethereum address for DXDAO as a member? It wouldn't, there's nothing that would stop us from that. We don't have a KYC expectation for cooperative membership. So that's a pretty low bar. The investment one's a different thing because you're actually issuing, in that case, we are issuing a security out of a different vehicle. So that one is why we do the convertible grant route. So we can still issue the same rewards, but without actually having to go through any of the investment problems.
Yeah. And what was the, like, what would be the size? I think you mentioned a few different sizes of like an investment for if DXDAO were to do that.
So the minimum check's 50K. So the minimum investment for this round is 50,000. We have a few other DAOs actually talking about, well, one of them actually has a legal entity, so I'm not sure they're exactly a DAO anymore, but they have talked about putting in, they're talking about putting in over $1 million. So we don't really care. You know, I mean, it's more what your investment comfort is. There will be some rewards though, and maybe this is what you're talking about, reward multipliers. So if you come in for 50K, you will get it's not a one-to-one yet. We have the official token distribution waterfall will be approved by the board this Thursday. So I'll actually be able to get that to you so you guys can take a look at it. But you'll get a 2x reward at 100,000, a 3x reward at 150, up to a 250 check max. So on cap reward, so 5x, right? So just for illustrative purposes, if I were doing a one-to-one and you got 50,000 tokens, at 100,000, you would get 200,000 tokens because you get 2x on the entire investment. So there is incentive to put in more capital because you will get more tokens. You'll get a lot more tokens at 5x at 250,000. So it's really just up to you based on that schedule with the 50,000 minimum.
Thanks.
And again, I'll be able to actually give you finite numbers, like formal numbers on like late this week.
Cool, thanks. Did anyone else have any specific questions?
I have one question, and maybe I show my face. And this is I didn't really understand what you're doing different than you told us that you are Web 2 and Web 3 and you try to connect it somehow. But what's the differentiation in the Web 3? So you do everything on chain, or you?
Well, we're the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. So what I mean by that is we can't do everything on chain because people's private employment data, that doesn't work, right? Yeah. So we're the bridge though, that if you look at traditional compliance mechanisms or employment, or even the notion of some portable KYC at scale, our employee members who provide that intimate level of information will have that verification. So for example, something that we're discussing about building in with Bright ID is the ability to have that portable stamp of approval for, KYC or verification. That way DAOs can feel comfortable about distributing value to people without having to chase people around to know who they are or be forced to do KYC compliance or any of that stuff, because it will already be done for them. So we're making that whole process much easier for people who are already in the ethereal world.
Okay.
The second part that we're doing is, if you go to our website, we don't talk a lot about crypto. We don't talk a lot about Web3 or blockchains. And that's primarily because our audience is really a global population of independent workers, right? And most of them don't know shit about any of this, right? And we don't want to scare them off with a bunch of crypto talk or whatever. So we're just doing it quietly. And our prediction is that more and more products like Opolis will be springing up over the next couple of years, where we really don't talk about the Web3 side of things. It's more the functional component. So that's kind of what I mean when we live in that bridge space between the two worlds.
John, but I also see the bridge as like, Martin, I have an entity. The entity gets paid by DXDAO in crypto, right? Now, how do I get money to pay bills in the real world? Through what mechanism, right? And how do I get benefits based on that pay, right? So I can take my crypto, I can pay that crypto through Opolis, right?
And get fiat and crypto if you want it. You can get it all compliantly done. So it's basically solving that. Okay, I got a shit ton of DAI. What do I do? How do I pay my rent?
In a way, it would make sense to split all the fixed social security stuff, just split it off on the payment, and have different accounts, or something.
And
like
that's exactly what we can do. So we can accept. We make all of those tax withholding, social security payments, all of that stuff comes through Opolis and the shared services stack. So that way, by the time the employee gets their money, it's just their paycheck part, and they don't have to deal with any of the other garbage.
Yeah, it turns a DAO crypto payment into an actual real fiat paycheck.
A legitimized
along the way.
Legitimized. I paid my taxes. So one of the things that I think is going to happen in the future is, DAOs are operating in sort of a gray space right now, right? And there's a lot of payments being made to people, and that people aren't paying taxes. They're not even recording them. And I think that regulators are going to come after that. I think regulators are going to say, oh, these are financial terrorists. These are people operating outside the system. They don't support our social democracy. They don't, whatever they want to say, right? They're just going to demonize it. What Opolis does is it legitimizes it, right? So when people come around and start looking and asking, what are they going to say? They're going to, well, I paid my taxes. I paid into everything. I did everything like a good boy. And, see you later, dude. Yeah. So we think it's an important, feature that we don't have a lot of simplicity around currently in the space. So Keenan's asking how much it's all based on your jurisdiction, Keenan. So it's based on whatever, required withholdings are done, how much if there's, like in the US, if there's a healthcare withholding, a lot of it's all based on that. Even without Opolis, you should still pay your taxes. I don't want to go to jail and be labeled a financial terrorist. We're trying to build, the next future of the internet. And, I would rather not get demonized over it. So I totally agree. Must be Canadian. I think it's Swiss is where he came. The paycheck, the paycheck spelled that way is also.
Swiss, maybe. Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah. The French in Switzerland.
Maybe.
I'm not. Yeah, it sounds interesting because I think also down the road, regulators can see all the payments on chain, and also they learn. They're in the process of learning this stuff, and they can come after you maybe 5 years later, and then you have problems then.
Exactly right. So look, we can cry our anarchy all we want, but the reality is that we still have to deal with some of these alphabet soup problems, regulatory agencies, compliance, tax payments, and to just not pay them isn't a good solution. In Opolis, because my background's in employment and HR tech systems, like we just see this as a really big, solution. So, and again, doing it in a community-owned way, in a public utility way, in a benevolent way, sustainably benevolent way, not just a third party providing a service. We're an employment DAO. We're building the future of employment Legos, just like DeFi built DeFi Legos and money Legos. Employment is going to be, in my opinion, in the next 3 years, like we're not even talking about this category yet. and employment's going to be a huge category for Web3. Anything else I can answer for anybody? Cool, I'm glad you are, MK. So anybody who wants to come and join, let me just put this up here. It's opolis.co/coalition. If you just go to this website, you can put in your email address, your Ethereum address, and the kind of membership you're interested in. We will send you a sign-up link when you're ready, when we're ready to do it, once we get ready to launch the token. The token's being launched in the first half of April. As long as we have all of our cats, nice try NSA CIA. Not so much, not my friends. The alphabet soup I'm talking about is IRS and DOL, but those guys too. We don't like those guys either. Yeah. No, we are certainly not OPSECing anybody here. If you go to opolis.co/coalition, you can kind of signal what you're interested in. I know, Zet, you're good. Don't worry about it. We're used to it. I've been down the rabbit hole way too fucking long to care about the troll comments. You are an angel. But yeah, if you have interest, just hit us up. If you're in the U.S. right now and you want to become an employee member, or if you're even qualified to work in the U.S., we can still do it. Just let us know. Josh is joshua@opolis.co. If you want to put your email address in there, Josh. Just hit us up. Let us know what you want to do. As far as investment goes, we'd love to have you. I mean, frankly, we'd rather have the community building the community. I mean, I talk to investors and, VCs because I kind of have to, but my God, if we could just do this without that, it would be the best music to my ears on the planet. But that's completely up to the value that you all see for you and, what you think the importance is as a group. So we do have other DAOs, that are part of this and that are helping support it. So you wouldn't be the first. And I would venture to bet that you're probably not the last either. So if you'd like to join up, let us know.
Yeah, and becoming a coalition member, like DXDAO itself could also become a coalition member. Yep.
Yes, absolutely could do that. And that, like I said, that's not a KYC activity as long as you're okay with being a member of a legal entity in a Colorado cooperative. In the U.S., so I guess technically you're doing business in the U.S. If that's of importance to you, that's something to consider. We do have a couple of shadow coalition members that aren't directly receiving rewards because they can't because of the legal framework. They don't want to be in the U.S., but they're still in support of this. And of course, when we go international, they'll come out of the closet. But we understand. Everybody's got their own risk tolerance for certain activities, but we have some ways that we can keep it very low and low risk, low bar, easy entry if you're all interested in moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, in general, DXDAO is happy to participate in things and remain on chain. It's like they're like be like participate on chain whenever possible. So I don't know if like becoming a coalition member makes us like any more in the US than not, but we'll have to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's something to consider, and everybody seems to come to their own conclusions on that. Like we've had some people say like, we're just not worried about it because we're just referring people. We're not actually doing commerce in any way, but that's up to everybody's interpretation, I guess. I mean, legally speaking, you're a member of a cooperative, that's about it. And you get the rights and benefits of that membership, which include the rights to profits and all of that. And we're doing that intentionally. It is impossible for Opolis to ever be entirely on chain until regulatory authorities say that you don't need employer identification numbers and things. Like, again, that's part of the bridge and why we're doing things the way that we're doing them. But we also understand our friends that operate in the Ether space and why they do it. So totally up to y'all.
Great. Thanks so much for joining.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, guys, for having us. Appreciate it. And we'll see you around the Ether space.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, John.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, you got it. Take care, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Do we have anything else we want to discuss?
I think
I mean-
Jitsi has extended their recording ability to more than 60 minutes.
Oh yeah, we're still recording.
I thought about it because I thought about saying something. I was like, oh, I'm going to wait until the recording kicks off at the 10 minutes after the hour, and it never did. The only other thing
take it off.
I was thinking is Jitsi is easier